It's a me, Mario. It's a me, Mario. So I'm off to find the princess magic mushroom, make me doll. Then I pick a pretty flower, to give me fireball. But the turtle, he had touched me, and I'm back to being small. And I got to be careful not to.
We are now live, so thank you everybody for tuning in. This is the podcast that we're going to do about NX. So we don't really have a name for this or anything, so maybe we'll come up with one after. But right now, we're just a podcast for fun, discussing NX. Yeah. So let me start it off here. We're going to be talking about what we think the NX is going to be, what we think it is going to be, what we want it to be, and what it could be or should be. And we mean by that, we mean the software, we mean the hardware, we mean how it connects with anything else, if it's a platform or a system, all of this stuff. It's all wild speculation. We have no inside knowledge guiding this. This is all just kind of us theorizing what it could be, and so that's pretty much it. So, I've written several articles, as you guys all know, about the hybrid theory and stuff, and I still think this is going to be a hybrid system. I think it's going to...
hybrid theory. You really love that album from Linkin Park.
But, I think it's going to start out as a single hybrid system, probably along the lines of like a 3DS XL, like a larger portable. And the reason I think they'd start that way is because chipsets are more expensive as they get smaller. So I think they're going to start out with a larger chipset and they're going to shrink down. So instead of having a smaller device and then going to a larger device, they're going to start with a larger device and shrink down to a smaller device, like a more portable version later. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. I think this is going to be all-inclusive, and I think eventually they might make like a living room-only kind of version. But that's all going to be the platform, but it's going to launch as a hybrid system, is what I think. What do you guys think?
So, well, let me ask you, do you think it's going to be able to play Wii U games? Because that's something Iwata mentioned a long time ago.
I think it's going to be close to Wii U spec. I don't know if it's going to be backwards compatible just because I don't know what they're going to do with their chipset. They're probably going to stick with AMD, so I imagine, you know, they might be able to make it backwards compatible in the same way a lot of the stuff's been, but then you also have to worry about, you know, how is it going to take discs versus download games. They might do it like what 360 is going to start doing now.
Which is what?
They're opening up like a digital backwards compatibility. Some kind of a thing going on that's like with the new update.
Yeah, with
I don't know
the
too
Xbox
much about
One,
it.
I think.
Yeah, it's like selective backwards compatibility.
It was something that I think a lot of people said couldn't be done, and then they somehow got it to work. And I remember there was a lot of people talking about it, but I don't know a lot of the specifics, but I do remember, people were talking about that, saying like, oh my god, this actually is happening.
Yeah, it's selective though, which means that it's not going to be every game. They're just kind of they're basically like porting the 360 games to like a generic version of the Xbox One protocols or something. Mm-hmm. So I could see them doing something similar to that with the Wii U, like making some kind of a generic Wii U virtual console kind of thing, emulator, and then just kind of tuning each game to fit it individually. Which is what they do with Virtual Console anyways, you know?
You know, that might be why they're making, why they're porting a lot of older games into the I guess the eShop these days, like they did with the Prime Trilogy. They might just, be getting started on fleshing out their digital.
That is possible, yeah.
So do you guys think that, imagining that this is a like handheld device that can play on your TV, whether it's a hybrid or not, do you guys think that they're going to be moving away from some kind of a like solid medium, that they're going to be going straight digital, like an iPhone or something?
Not now, I don't think.
Yeah, definitely not.
cart sizes have actually been getting pretty big recently, which is kind of surprising. They could actually do like DS carts, DS card sizes that are big enough to do pretty decent sized games.
I believe that's what they will actually go with. I believe they will go with DS style cartridges.
It's SD cards right now. The SDXC format can go up to 2 terabytes.
Right, which is bigger than any game out there.
Yeah, big time. And I mean, a Wii U disc right now is what, 25 gigs, I think?
Yeah, 25.
And 32 gigabyte SD cards are like running basically at the standard mainstream price now. If you go out to buy an SD card, that's like the standard now is 32 gigs. And those are running, $15, something like that. So it's
pretty cheap.
They're capable of doing something small.
Yeah. I mean, yeah. But the whole idea, like, Nintendo going all digital, that's not going to happen. They probably more than other companies, Nintendo values their relationships with retailers. Like, that's like super important to them.
That's a big part of the Amiibo push.
Retailers like that. Yeah.
That's a big part of the Amiibo push, is retail or something.
Yeah, what are they going to do? Have Amiibo go digital too?
they're gonna put
presents.
You're just gonna you have to buy like the Nintendo 3D printer.
Yeah. Print out all your Amiibo.
Now you're printing with power.
Yeah. The system will come with like a paint set.
It'll be the spiritual successor to Mario Paint.
Actually, we just figured out the
Mario printer.
Actually, we just figured out the NX. It's a 3D printer. Boom, done.
It just prints Amiibos. That's all it does.
The Wii printed money. The NX will print Amiibos.
Yeah. Will and I have actually joked around a bit because he's like Amiibo crazy. And we started like now whenever we talk about money, we always price things out by how many
Amiibos that gets you. Yeah.
So like that's $30. That's almost 3 Amiibo.
That's almost 3 Amiibo. Wonder how many Amiibo the NX will cost me.
That's a good point to bring up. So what do you think price wise is reasonable? I mean, if they are going for like a hybrid type system, more high performance system, they're not going to be able to price it the way they were, I mean, the 3DS, they had to do such a significant price drop because it was not selling at $250. Do you think the reason the 3DS can sell at $250 is because that price is unacceptable for a handheld, or do you think it's because the launch lineup sucked and they couldn't market it? Yeah, so you think they could launch NX at like $250 as a portable, and that would be kosher?
As a portable, no, it's not going to happen. It's going to be $100. Nintendo learned a valuable lesson with the 3DS launch, where they found out they absolutely cannot launch a handheld at $350. That's suicide. So, I mean, they literally had to apologize to people and give them free games. It's not an
ambassador program.
Yeah. They never had something like that for Wii U, which was a bigger disaster, I think.
Yeah.
I really don't know. I mean, I feel like they could get away with it, but they would have to make it really appealing. Like, just load up the launch window with games, features, whatever. Like, make it a luxurious item that you have to get, Because based on its graphical capabilities, or if it has a launch lineup like the 3DS did, it would definitely not. It would have to be much lower. And even the 3DS, I mean, I don't think it took off until, Mario Kart came out? Like, that's what it took.
The first one that started selling on it was probably Ocarina of Time 3D. That was like, that got a pretty big push on the system. And then, it was probably Mario Kart that really, like, that's when the system was like, okay, this is no longer a joke about how the system isn't doing well, because it is.
Here's the facts. The handheld market is not a market you can F around in. You can't. Sony tried, and they failed big time. Sony found out how impossible that market is to crack. Nintendo has been in that market since the late 80s. They know what they're doing. They are not going to change their strategy now and risk alienating that market, which is their biggest market, not the console market. I mean, the reason you mentioned like Nintendo got spooked and reversed course on the 3DS like almost immediately, but they let the Wii U just be a disaster. And the reason is because that's where Nintendo's priority is their handheld market.
Especially in Japan, where consoles are just pretty much dead across the board.
I think one way to think of it, though, is, because Nintendo has been in the handheld market for, let's face it, about 30 years now, you could almost, and because, we got the mobile markets with smartphones and, a lot of other handheld devices.
Which, the smartphone business keeps growing, like huge numbers every year, too.
But what I was going to say was, I think one of the reasons why Sony didn't, I think succeed, is because they waited too long. And I think the reason why Nintendo still succeeds is because I think they're, in some respects, grandfathered in. So they can sort of continue to encapsulate that market, even though it is shrinking. But...
And let's face it, most people don't like to admit this. At least most Nintendo fans I know don't like to admit this, but their market is mostly young children, especially on the handheld side, more so than anything. It's mostly younger gamers, younger kids who get the 3DS, who get their parents to buy them 3DSs.
The Pokemon audience.
The Pokemon audience.
Yeah.
I would say it's people that are in school and they can socialize all the time and they're surrounded by people and they can play Monster Hunter with each other.
Yeah.
Because you hear about that also. I mean, even like with the N64 was hugely popular among college students,
that's another good point. Yeah, there's like a social aspect with these machines that you don't necessarily get with a console. And that Sony went completely over Sony's head when they were trying to market the Vita or the PSP.
They just wanted to make a console that was a handheld.
Right.
Basically. That's the thing, is it's not a great experience,
It's not a great experience. It doesn't work that way. I think handhelds do work better as social devices. And Nintendo, go ahead.
I just latched onto that thought about Nintendo Portables being social. They can't really do. I guess they must have figured out by now. They can't really do in the West or outside of Japan what they do in Japan, right? Which is
like Street Pass and stuff just isn't as effective.
Yeah, exactly. Street Pass doesn't work because we just don't have that kind of population density in outside of Japan. But with that in mind, do you think they're gonna go with a very heavy shift towards online social aspects? Because how else are they gonna do it?
I think they are gonna push heavily on online, but I think they're not gonna do it in like the traditional way of just straight up online multiplayer. I think that Nintendo's still hesitant there. And they're going to do that with some experiences, but I think you're going to get a lot more. You're going to get like Street Pass assisted by online kind of stuff.
If we learn anything about it, Nintendo does things in a way that you don't expect. Like, for years and years, people have been like speculating on Nintendo making a first-person shooter style game, what that could be. We eventually got Splatoon. I don't think anybody was expecting Splatoon.
No. Nor being successful.
Yeah, nor being as successful as it became, really. That became like their biggest hit new IP. And
there is so much hentai doujinshi for Splatoon. It's crazy.
Yeah.
That's the true mark of success in Japan,
That's true mark of success. Yeah, all the...
Are there fan-made erotic comic books of your work? Yes, and it's successful in Japan.
Why am I not surprised?
That's how you know your new IP took off.
Yeah, exactly. It's the love for the
Everyone's getting off.
characters, and yeah, it's the love for the characters. You know, like when you get something that's like iconic and draw people in, then yeah.
When you get something so iconic, you're like, I love these characters so much. I want to see them bone. And
Hey, it's the reason why, like in the West, like the parody pornography is like the new thing that's like so huge and popular. It's because you're seeing characters that you love bone, you know, but it's a weird fascination we have, right?
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
But I was like I was saying, Nintendo does things that, like, again, when Nintendo announced their first mobile game earlier this month, or I think at the end of last month, recently, everybody was expecting, everybody was expecting it was going to be Mario, it was going to be Pokemon, it was going to be something, it was Miitomo. And it's a communication, like, kind of a social app. So it isn't, like, even, like, really a game per se.
Well, it's going to be a lot like Tomodachi Life.
Yeah. It's like that. It's like this weird, quirky thing. And you're like, you didn't expect that, and yet, when you think about it, it's totally Nintendo. It's the way they do things.
Very much, yeah.
I think it's also going to be a really good game for microtransactions because it plays to people's vanity without getting to that obnoxious freemium state of, like, you know, you've played for an hour, now you need to pay $1 to play again kind of mentality that they use with addiction, which is like almost criminal with the way like freemium games are run. But I mean, this instead plays on vanity. You're like, you know, you want a really nice hat for your character. That'll be like, you know, that'll be $1.99, you know?
I download a me version of Tinder. Swipe people based on the attractiveness of their me's. and then when you get a match, you can trade Nintendo Network IDs.
I don't know if Nintendo's going to want to go down that route quite, but
So what I'm confused because I remember reading that article or like that conference about Miitomo, but I forgot the details. I remember it was something about your me characters like interacting with each other while you were looking.
It's going to ask you questions, I think. Like, it's going to send you kind of surveys, and then it's going to use the answers to kind of as a way to, in like a kind of Animal Crossing-esque way, like, you know, like in Animal Crossing when if you have multiple people playing on the same game file, somebody will come up and go like, oh, you know, so-and-so, you know, really, you know, likes apples or something. And you're like, oh, yeah, that's when my sister was playing on that save, I guess she got a lot of apples in the game. I think it's going to be like along those lines.
I like apples.
What's the price of turnips today?
Yeah. I think that's what's going to be. So they're going to like, they're going to ask you kind of like survey type questions, and then they're going to find a way to integrate that. They said it's kind of as a way of like encouraging like socialization or encouraging you to share parts of yourself, even if you're like really shy and don't want to. Which sounds very Japanese, you know.
Yeah, I don't.
Society is very, you know, limited and holds stuff back, so I could see that being a big.
It is, but to be honest, I think that's like has a huge chance of taking off in the U.S. too. As long as people don't think it's silly, it can it can work. Because just look at like message for
Alex.
Hey, sorry, I cut off there for a bit.
Okay.
He's on there twice.
Oh wow, yeah.
Anyway.
I kind of cut off my train of thought. No, yeah, I think it can take off in the U.S. because just look at things like gaming message forums where people get together and really it's people who they're not as big into socializing as I guess the people that don't go on message forums. There's like an appeal to something that makes it easier for you to like integrate in a community. So I can see. I feel like I understand what Nintendo is doing with that, because it's sort of what we're trying to do in Enthusiast Gaming, or like, Enthusiast Media Network or whatever. It's just kind of funny to think about, oh wow, Nintendo's doing it like legit. What are we doing?
Yeah,
they're going to be a little bit more limited than what Enthusiast Gaming's going for. Like, Enthusiast Gaming's going for full-on communication, and Nintendo wants to do it like
Nintendo's way.
Yeah.
We can probably have a hentai doujinshi board, and they can't. So
you have the exclusive Splatoon.
Exclusive Splatoon content.
Yeah.
Find it anywhere else.
The Splatoon hentai board? Totally, make me the mod.
We'll let you take care of that.
Have to clean up all the ink.
Oh, God. That was like horrible and hilarious.
I was waiting for someone to say it.
You knew it was coming. It was just a matter of time. So let's get back on the NX side of things, though. So, what do you guys think this is going to be pushing power-wise? I mean, there was the whole, was it the Wall Street Journal that did the whole thing, industry-leading chips.
It's going to be slightly enhanced Wii U graphics.
Yeah.
Just like GameCube to Wii.
See, that's the thing is, like, mobile chips are already there. They're already at that, like, is it the new one from NVIDIA? It's called the Tegra X1. Is already pulling off teraflop performance, which is higher than what Wii U can do. Wii U, I think, is something like 700 to 800 gigaflops. So it's close to teraflop. Yeah, it's close to teraflop performance, but I mean, we're talking like there's a mobile chip on the market now that's pulling off teraflop performance.
Here's the thing. I don't think Nintendo cares. I don't think Nintendo cares that much about performance. And then I don't
think they need to.
Yeah.
I mean, if they want Call of Duty and stuff, then yeah, they need to get a certain level of graphical fidelity. But for their own games, I mean, nobody looks at Mario Kart 8 and goes like, "Damn, there just isn't enough detail." It looks great.
Yeah, it looks fantastic.
Of course, it could always look better, but it doesn't need to. It's not like that. It's when you played like Double Dash or something, or Mario Kart Wii. There are like parts you're just kind of like, this course, it's a little ugly around the edges, You don't get that on Mario Kart 8. There just isn't that feeling, and nobody's talking like that. Even like even the people that were hating on the Wii big time when it was out because of the graphics are like perfectly fine with Mario Kart 8.
I also think though that third parties, AAA third parties, I think play a bit of a role in that just because. But the thing with that is the majority of people who buy Nintendo systems play Nintendo games.
Yeah.
They don't buy AAA third party games. Now, what was I thinking that you want AAA third party games to sell well on Nintendo systems, make the games better or something like that.
Yeah.
I mean exactly. I mean, just make quality games, make it up to a high standard. Like, if you're going to put a multi-platform game out, make sure that it's as high quality and has all the features, is on parity, and is released day and date with all the other console versions, so that it can compete on that system on the same level.
I also think we're seeing a lot of movement away from the arms race in general.
I've seen that so much with third-party games on Nintendo systems, where they just do something stupid to handicap the Nintendo version, and then they complain, "Oh, it's not selling."
Okay, fans, we're giving you Dead Space as a rail shooter.
Or even like on Wii U, when they release Assassin's Creed 3, and then they're like, "Oh, well, it's not getting the DLC." Well, it's like, well, then why am I going to go out and buy the Wii U version? I'm not.
Same thing happened with Need for Speed Most Wanted. They didn't give us the extra DLC, or the famous one I know is Call of Duty Ghosts. What do we get for DLC? Free fall.
Yeah. And then they turn around and claim, our games don't sell on Nintendo systems. Well, because nobody wants the worst version.
You know what was funny about that Ghosts free fall DLC was that after it came out, people wished they hadn't gotten it for free. That's how bad it was. It really
You're like, can I delete this from my system? They're like, it's free. It's like, no, I want it off of my system. It feels dirty.
It's like you had a pretty decent meal and then they took a crap on it. That's it.
No, and then they'll exactly. Yeah. It's just
it was really silly. I'm like, what are you guys? No, like, and then there's the other thing, like Wii controls, like IR pointing controls, were pretty botched on release, and it's like, wasn't this the big feature of Wii Call of Duty ever since Modern Warfare 1? Like, that's kind of the reason people are playing it on this system.
Yeah, like they had a small audience on the Wii for those games, but that's why that audience was there.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's unfortunate. I mean, IR seems to be just completely going away, which sucks.
Yeah.
Because like a perfect example of that would be like Skyward Sword. The gyro controls when you're like aiming stuff are shit compared to just IR.
To IR, yeah.
Even Splatoon, I think, I know some people on the forums will say, that the gyro controls with the gamepad, they're good enough and stuff like that. I still say the IR aiming it should have been included.
Definitely.
Yeah. And if any game is fit for waggling, I mean, think about the paintbrush.
That's waggling your ink.
But yeah, it's unfortunate, but the problem I think there is that it's not even just developers supporting it or not. It's the amount of people that just like tried it once and then they got like their pointer off the screen because they weren't holding the controller right, and then they're like, "This is crap. I don't want anything to do with this."
Or they think that you have to, use your whole arm and shoulders and your whole body and stuff like that to do anything. No, it's a flick of the wrist. That's all it is.
Yeah.
It's very easy to do. Anyone can do this.
I want to see those guys using a mouse on a PC and see just what they do with it.
Yeah. Throw it over their heads and...
Yeah, I remember the first time I learned I could adjust my mouse's sensitivity, and I made it so it's so slight that I'm barely moving it to move my mouse all the way across the screen. Yeah. And then whenever I plug in, like I start up on a new computer, it's like it feels like I have to drag my whole arm across to get the cursor from one side to the other. I wonder...
Reminds me of any time when I have to use someone else's computer and I go, "Whoa, your mouse is so slow," and it's like,
yeah.
But anyway.
No, I liked what you said earlier, Tyson, about how everyone's moving away from the arms race, of like the graphical arms race.
Yeah, because I think what they realize is that there are a few titles that can spend these just millions and millions and millions of dollars.
It's like,
but not everything can get away with that. And,
it's unsustainable.
And guess what? It's not sustainable because guess what? Konami is totally dropping out of AAA game development to go make games for mobile.
Hey, we don't talk about pachinko games, right?
That's what NX is. It's a pachinko machine.
Yeah, it's a pachinko. It's kind of like Metal Gear Solid pachinko.
You put amiibos in it. It has a slot. You put amiibos in it, and they have to land in the right spaces.
Yeah.
But
you win digital amiibos. It actually destroys your real amiibo, and
yeah, you have to go buy another one.
Yeah.
Keep playing.
But when you have like major game developers actively running away from AAA game development because mobile is much cheaper, there's much more money, there's a lot of money to be made making cheap free-to-play mobile games.
I think there's also a bit about, when you go for photorealism, everything starts to look the same. Right. And it becomes harder and harder to differentiate yourself. And then the only way you can differentiate yourself when you are going for photorealism is by providing, like, the best experience in a certain field, So, if like, Call of Duty has that wrapped up with shooters, that's, of course that's debatable.
Look at
you ask, but then where's the room for other shooters,
Look at the people beating the drums for better graphics. Who constantly gets out there and beats the drum for better graphics? It's Epic. It's
the people that make the graphics engines, yeah.
Exactly. Exactly. They always come out with this ridiculous hyperbole, and it's just like eventually nobody's gonna have the budget to make these games with the kinds of graphics that these companies keep pushing to push their graphics engines.
There's this thing that's been going on with mobile development, not with games, just in general, where people have started to realize the importance of having designers working on these apps instead of just like programmers. Because programmers make these apps and they're ugly. They might have a lot of function, but they're ugly.
User interface.
Yeah, so they need more attention to actual designers on there. I think we're getting a similar parallel with the gaming industry right now, where companies are like, okay, well, if we're going to make a game, we need it to stand out. We need something that's unique. We need a look to it. And the way you do that is you move away from photorealism. You move towards, caricature-esque characters and cartoony stuff and just kind of different looks and stuff. And when you do that, you don't need the same resources you do when you're doing something with, crazy photorealistic graphics.
Now, don't get me wrong. Photorealism has its place in games. I mean,
yeah, in some games.
Absolutely, I think it has its place.
Elder Scrolls, Skyrim, Fallout.
Those definitely need it because I don't trust Bethesda with artistic direction.
Right.
I found it funny when people were saying how Fallout 4 looks ugly, and I'm just going, I think it looks fine. I mean, it's not going to push the boundaries of any graphical powerhouses probably, but it's like
it looks like a Bethesda game. That's
exactly. It has a very specific art style, which I think is very reminiscent of their games. So I think that works for them.
But I think that as companies move away from photorealism and they start embracing these more outlandish designs, and they start realizing that they can reduce the budget by doing that, I think that we're getting something akin to like art house games.
Well, you know what?
How we had, indie films and then we have art house films. And I think we're getting something similar with games where we have this huge growing indie game universe. It's just exploding like crazy. Yeah. And then now you have like big developers that are like cutting down and saying, well, we're going to make some kind of like smaller games where the teams have more creative freedom, but much less budget. And we're getting this kind of weird thing, and that's what happened with film and stuff. I mean, now you look at the best movies that are out, and it's usually not like the huge, mega budget movies that you're like, wow, that's a really good film. It's like these little kind of character driven, or unique looking like stories,
Well,
there's a lot of that, yeah.
Wind Waker.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that was a push away from photorealism to like this more stylized graphical, this more stylized type of visual experience. And people railed pretty hard against that at the time.
And now it's looked back
I
on
remember
like,
very
so
much.
love.
Yeah.
That was
know
crazy.
what they were asking for.
Yeah.
If you
actually look back at that Space World demo that everybody wanted, it's really ugly.
Oh,
It is
God,
really
it looks
ugly.
terrible.
It is very ugly. It has not aged well. It looks like claymation.
Yeah, it looks like Reboot. That like Canadian the Canadian sci-fi CG animated cartoon or whatever. That's what it looks like. It has that like really early CG look to it.
The interesting thing about Wind Waker is that whether it's the GameCube version or the recent Wii U version, they're timeless. 20 years from now, they're still going to look good. Just because of the way the art style is, and which is reminiscent of a lot of Nintendo games, apparently. But, art styles, I think, will probably take more, maybe presence, I guess. So then the act of having very overly photorealistic games is probably not going to be the drive, maybe. I mean, I don't know. But I have a gaming PC. I love, I like, seeing what I can get maxed out on my games, but at the same time, it's not something that, I say, well, I'm not going to get this game because it's the, it's not the
I have a gaming PC too. It's the same thing. Yeah, it's like, sometimes it's not even the quality of the game. You just want to see what you can do.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. Now you're playing with power.
Pushing this till I'm down to 10 frames a second and see.
Yeah, exactly. I played Crysis 3 just to see how many frames I could get. That's it. And then I finished the game and it was pretty mediocre.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I got what was it, the PC version of like Mirror's Edge, I remember, and I just didn't even want the game, but I just kept playing it because I'm like, oh, it looks really pretty. What if I can increase the texture resolution here?
I totally cop to whenever I get a new console or a new machine, I just pick out whatever is going to be the prettiest game, just so I can geek out over the graphics on the new system. And
yeah, how many people bought Assassin's Creed 3 because of the water?
I bought Killzone Shadow.
Whatever.
Well, 3 because that was the first game where they showed the ships.
Right.
And they showed, you saw like the crazy water, yeah.
I
was
totally
the one that did it right.
I totally bought Killzone Shadowfall just because of the graphics. I did not care about that franchise. I do not care about first-person shooters. I got a new PlayStation 4. I wanted to see the pretty graphics, and that is all.
They should have system with like the craziest tech demos ever, just to satisfy that.
And let's face it though, eye candy does sell. Especially if you're going to launch a system, you want something that actually, not only just demonstrates what it's capable of, but also really kind of showcases, this is what it's all about. And that's why I think with the NX, they need to have this strong lineup that baby's crying or something. They need to have this strong lineup. That's why I think they need to go out, they need to come out with a 3D Mario game. I think that's one of the more crucial things they need to come out with.
I think there's something there because that's something we lacked at the release of the Wii U. Like,
yep.
We just had new Super Mario Bros., but that's not going to blow anyone away.
Nintendo was like, okay, you guys want a Nintendo system to launch with a Mario game, like the good old days. Well, here's new Super Mario Bros. U. I don't think it's realistic for any of their consoles to launch with a 3D Mario game, just because of like the development time that would have to go into one of those games. They would have to be planning it well in advance of the console launch.
I think they can do it on this one because it's been 3D World came out late 2013.
Yeah.
So
if we're expecting that they're not really pushing the boundaries of power with their new system, that it's going to be similar to Wii U spec, then this could be something that was just developed as a Wii U game with the potential to be something else instead, and now it's going to be something else instead.
It's just going to be maxing out like the Alias.
You know what? I hear you. You see the reasoning? It is not happening. I've been on these dangerous waters of hype, and I have been let down time and time again.
That's really bad luck.
Yeah. There's also the possibility that we're going to get Zelda NX at launch,
That's a safer possibility, just because...
Like with the Wii, we got Zelda.
Yeah.
We only got Mario Galaxy like a year later.
Some people think it would move to NX and we wouldn't get the Wii version. I don't think they'd do that. I think they would.
We're gonna get both.
No,
I think it's going to be Twilight Princess all over again.
So, yeah, because it's coming out, and at the same time the NX releases fall 2016, which
so you're saying the NX version is going to be flipped? Link's going to be right-handed, and the whole game is going to be flipped.
No, it's going to be upside down.
Yeah.
That's actually going to be the gimmick of the NX. You play it upside down.
An upside down pachinko machine that eats amiibos. Cracked it.
No, it'll be a shadow of itself. You've been playing like Shadow Link like you did in Ocarina of Time or against him.
But yes, I could totally see them porting that to NX, especially if they're so close in power. It's like, why not?
Here's what I've been thinking about that though is like since Iwata first talked about their new system, which was before they called it an NX. This was like back in what was it? It was like in March 2014 when some investor asked like what's going on with your next systems, and the question was about them unifying their platforms so as to not have to record for both of them separately. But then one of the things he mentioned in there was that they wanted to absorb, not necessarily absorb, but to make it so that the new system would be able to play Wii U games. So I think it's not hard to see that it wouldn't even have to be a port the way we think of it. Like it's essentially just gonna be, here's Zelda Wii U, but if you play it on your NX, it's got like all these graphical features that you don't get on your Wii U, without being necessarily a different game or a different version of the game.
I remember before the Wii U came out, I was thinking that, they had these games where they were like, oh, they might get pushed on to, Wii U instead. Like, some of them ended up coming out on both, actually, much later, like Rodea, which just came out on both, like a Wii game
a generation later.
Well, the developer now says, for Rodeo Sky Soldier he says, get the Wii version, so go figure.
Yeah. But the thing about, I always thought, if they're going to be doing that, what they should do is they should there's gotta be a way that they can make a game that scales. I mean, if PC can scale to so many different dimensions, why can't they make one disc that will play on Wii and Wii U, and it'll scale? Like, it'll have just different settings. And
that's what I think. That's what I think they're gonna do.
If you did that for this generation, then you'd have a NX library before you were done with your Wii U.
Yeah, and it would immediately be an improvement on your Wii U library. Like, I would replay games just to see how they looked on the NX,
I mean, one thing to think about that is, it falls perfectly in line with what Iwata was saying when he said about using the same OS, same architecture, sharing that ecosystem. And I think and this is actually why I think the system is not going to be a hybrid necessarily. It might be a hybrid of systems, but they share similarities. But I still think the dedicated console and dedicated handheld is what will happen. But,
just on the same platform, like how you have
the same type of platform, like same
iOS for iPad and iPhone, and
exactly. It's going to be iOS type situation.
So here's the thing about the NX. Here's what's driving the NX. And it's basically this. For years, we all know about the software droughts on Nintendo systems. I think everybody has complained and moaned about that. Nintendo is aware of it. Iwata made several comments over the years about, they were trying to fix the software droughts. It never happens. And so this is the whole driving force behind the NX. Nintendo figures if instead of the way they're doing it now, having two entirely different systems to develop games for, which is really, they figure if they have generally one system, almost to develop games for, then they can get more games out and they can fill those gaps. And so the idea behind the NX is let's make the handheld and the console similar enough to where we can make one game and we can port it to both, and then we we spend less time developing games, we can make more games, we could fill those gaps, and maybe end these droughts.
Yeah, I mean that's what I've always felt Nintendo has needed to do. Like when I was writing that, hybrid articles, it wasn't about like because I think that they need a system that can go and play at home on TV. It was because I feel that Nintendo needs to unify their platforms as far as games.
Yes.
That's it. That's it. It's nothing else. I mean, you need one system that you can play Pokemon on, that you can play 3D Zelda on, that you can play, the next big Mario. They all have to be on the same system because Nintendo can't keep up with the competition in the arms race. They're never going to be the system of choice for third-party software again. It's just not going to happen.
That's just not going to happen.
That's a failed,
Yeah, we need to let that dream die.
Yeah. And so what they need to go on now is to say, okay, before we'd have people would go like, maybe I'll pick up a 3DS, but that Wii U game looks really good, but I don't want a Wii U because that 3DS game looks good. I guess I just won't get either.
I've heard a lot.
That's what they need to change.
I've heard a lot of people saying that, like, they bought a 3DS because it had a bunch of good games, and then they want to play Wonderful 101. They want to play Bayonetta 2. They want to play Xenoblade, Mario Kart, Smash. They have like 15 games that they want to play on Wii U. But they don't want to get it because it's just that one game 15 times. It's like, okay. But there is that train of thought that I guess simply the 3DS is the appealing one of the two and they only want to get one of them because they're expensive.
Right. And I totally don't believe if I could only get one Nintendo system, it would be the 3DS, not the Wii U.
See, I'd probably end up getting both, even with all the games on both.
Well, I'm saying if I could only get one. Now, come on, I did get both. I mean, that
even if
wasn't a problem.
I just mean, like, even if all the games were across them both, I'd probably still get both, so I'd have something that was more portable, as well as something that I could play at home.
If somebody held a gun to your head and said, "I will murder you and your entire family," if you get both of these, only get one, or else you're dead. Which one are you going to choose?
I'm going to get the console. Because that's where I play mostly.
I mean, the thing is that, with all these, like cross-platform and stuff like that, if they were to do this, with the NX by having console and handheld, and let's say they do have, many titles that are shared between the systems, they would still need to have exclusives on each platform to differentiate it, and then also encourage people to buy both, of course.
I totally believe there's still going to be exclusives on each platform. It's just going to be if they feel the need to, they can port those games across each other easily. It's more about ease of
the easy button, hit the button, boom.
Hit the button, boom. So it saves them development time.
I'm expecting something more along the lines of what we got with Smash Brothers.
I mean, I'm going to say
you could see that.
Pokemon NX isn't going to be on the NX console. It's going to be on the NX handheld, where they prefer Pokemon to be.
But it should be playable on the NX console as well.
Should be, but it will not be. I
don't know about that.
No, I agree with Tyson here. All they have to do is not make the games exclusive, just give them exclusive content.
Right.
Yeah.
They could, yeah.
I mean that's like I said, that's Smash Brothers, It's the same game, there's different stages, there's
than making a whole
Oh yeah, the Smash Brothers is actually a perfect example for this, because they had a hell of a time developing Smash Bros. For the 3DS in conjunction with the Wii U, and in fact the 3DS even made them cut out the ice climbers, which they were originally going to put in. So imagine if the 3DS had similar architecture to the Wii U, had the same features, that would have made it much easier to make that version of Smash Brothers, and they wouldn't have had to make any sacrifices on either side just to get the game working.
Yeah.
But they could still put exclusives on each side,
Right.
Like they could say this mode is only on the handheld.
Oh yeah, they could say, they could say, exclusive stages on the handheld version, right? But they're not going to have that difficult time building it. They're not going to have to sacrifice features just to get it to run.
As long as they keep the ice climbers exclusive to one platform, so I can buy the other one. I hate those guys.
It's like, oh, Ice Climber's here? Nope.
Yeah.
You have to
Sell
buy
my
the
system.
Ice Climbers amiibo to take the Ice Climbers out of the game.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That would be
you go.
expensive enough for Alex.
You have to tap the amiibo to the controller. It sucks the Ice Climbers out, and then you have to throw the amiibo out.
And then you hit it with the hammer right, you're done.
That's the ultimate DLC. You pay to get features taken off.
You pay to get it. Wait a second.
It's like in Ghost. I would pay to get Freefall off the game.
Just on principle.
Yeah,
I hate it. I absolutely hate it. It's worse than Siege.
it's the worst.
But so NX, like, and again, here's another thing about NX is people keep thinking in terms of a system. And it's like, yeah, it's a code name for it. Really, NX is a code name for a platform. Not like any one device, but a platform that is going to encompass many different devices. From consoles to handhelds to who knows what else.
It's Nintendo's
Ecosystem.
iOS, yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
It's the name of the OS.
Yeah, it's the name of the OS. So it's like,
And of course the X is probably referring to, crossover because that's how X is used in Japan.
yeah. And it's Nintendo X's crossover.
Yeah.
Nintendo Cross. I don't know if NX, the actual system probably won't be called NX. It'll probably be called Wii U 2 Electric Boogaloo because Nintendo loves terrible names.
Okay.
Yeah, let's hope they pick a really good name this time.
Yeah, I hope it's not Wii anything. Let's get away from Wii.
The Wii moniker just needs to die.
Yeah.
It's over and done with.
Gone. Yeah,
I used to defend Wii U. I used to defend it, and now I just kind of go, it's pointless. It was fine back then in 2006 when the Wii came out. It was really awkward. Everyone's obviously like, oh, wait, I'm playing with my Wii and all that kind of stuff. And now it's just kind of like, it's old. It's over and done with.
I think the Wii U should have been the name for the controller.
I didn't.
That's what people thought it was.
I defended Wii, but I never defended Wii U because even I heard it and said, well, that's just stupid. Okay.
I like the joke that people that call the Wii U the ambulance system because it's Wii U, Wii U.
Okay, so
Call them the ambulance.
I was really excited for Wii U after their conference in like 2011.
Mm-hmm.
When they showed off the system, and they even got the president of EA out there saying, "Oh, Battlefield is going to be so awesome." Yeah,
that paid off in droves.
Battlefield is going to be so awesome on the Wii U. That's what he said. It's like
we're gonna. That's right. We're gonna put out a Mass Effect game that everybody already has, and then we're gonna release a trilogy before our version of 3 comes out.
And then we're not going to actually release the first 2.
It's going to be the third part of a trilogy of like a heavily story-based game.
But then we're going to release the trilogy right before it on every other system for less money.
A heavily story-based game where decisions made in the previous 2 games affect the story in the third game. And it's like, we're only going to put that one out.
I mean, what they did do, though, for that, though, is they did add sort of like key story sequences from the first 2, and then they applied Mass Effect 3. But the problem is when you do stuff like that, though, this is the reason why third-party games generally don't sell on Wii U system or on Nintendo systems, because they just keep getting gimped. I mean, like this, especially now. I think it's worse I think it's worse today in some respects. I mean, what was it that
No, we don't get them.
Yeah, so
we just don't get them.
EA was like,
the ultimate GIMP, just gone.
Well, like Ubisoft's profits, I think, for other systems. I think the Wii was generating more profit for Ubisoft than the Wii U was, and then obviously PlayStation 4 and Xbox One, and of course even PC. PC is obviously
I think really fault Ubisoft here. At least they tried. They put out a great...
Yeah, they really did try.
...exclusive original game, and it flopped. I mean, you can't do more than that.
They get the best grade of the class, which is like a 7 out of 10 for effort. That's it.
7.9. We'll do 7.9.
They get a 7.9.
I think everybody who played Zombie U can say it was like...
It was good.
It was good. It was a good survival horror game. It was original. The way they...
Very misunderstood.
Yeah, it was misunderstood. The way they approached
I still need to finish that game.
Totally original. It was a new IP, I mean, it had everything going for it. As far as the type of game that you'd want third parties to make on Wii U, Zombie U was that.
It also got a pretty horrible critical reception.
Yeah, the critics were, like, way too harsh on that game for whatever reason.
I think the game wasn't buggy.
Yeah, I felt the critical reception was way too harsh. It was like, really? Because, it's weird.
Well, didn't the Silent Hill game on Wii that people just love, didn't that get pretty shitty reviews too?
Mediocre ones, yeah.
Silent Memory, or no, Shattered
Memory, yeah.
Silent Hill, Silent Memories.
Okay, you confused me because you said Silent Hill and Wii U. I'm like, when did that happen?
No, the Wii one, yeah. That game, like, people loved that game, and it got horrible reviews.
Interestingly enough, though, that was a technical showcase on the Wii.
Oh, yeah.
Because I think, like, for example, you had your flashlight, and then it would individually light the snowflakes, and then it had, all these really nice shadow effects and stuff like that. So, but, yeah, some people didn't.
That was one of the ones they released that on PS2 and on PSP as well, and you could see, like, a pretty significant difference between those versions. It was like, oh wow, they just took out all the background elements on that one.
It was pretty decent Silent Hill game in an era where Konami was busy pumping out as many crappy Silent Hill games as they could.
Yeah, exactly. That's exactly what it was.
Before they decided to like cock tease everybody with their dream Silent Hill game and then pull it away.
Yeah,
like Lucy with the football.
Except it was Guillermo del Toro ended up on his ass.
Yeah. Poor Guillermo del Toro is now Charlie Brown.
Konami, like the saddest topic to talk about. They're just they
remember when it used to be Capcom?
Remember?
Yeah,
Capcom's good now.
Yeah.
Then it was like Square Enix, and now it just every year just goes to different someone else.
Yeah, somebody takes the crown for
so
fucked up, sad shit.
it was Capcom because they canceled Mega Man Legends 3.
Well, not just that, I mean, they were just going downhill.
They were doing really stupid stuff. Like, they released Asura's Wrath, and the ending was locked as DLC that you had to pay for.
What?
Yeah.
What kind of stupid bullshit is that?
Capcom.
Well, Mega Man Legends 3 particularly stung because Capcom did the same thing Konami did. Basically, they teased fans with it for like over a year, and then they canceled it. And it's like, really?
Yeah. They got mad at Inafune. They were acting like an angry ex-wife. Like, just doing all those crazy shit just to spite Inafune, canceling games, spitting on the fans. Like, what's going on?
And then they killed our chance at Guillermo del Toro games, which would have been really exciting beyond that,
This was a Silent Hill being made in conjunction with Hideo Kojima and Guillermo del Toro. They had this top like Japanese manga horror author also.
Yeah. It was the Chrono Trigger of our day.
It was.
Because that was what Chrono Trigger was, if you remember. That was like oh my god, it's the Dragon Quest people, it's the Final Fantasy people, it's everyone.
I'd get to play that, but
they got the guy, the most popular guy from The Walking Dead to star in it, and it was like, this was going to be completely amazing, and then.
Even if it wasn't like Silent Hill, like even if it was a reboot, its own thing, whatever it was gonna be great.
It could have been called
Guillermo del Toro. You don't have to anymore.
Yeah, it didn't even have to be Silent Hill. It could have been called Marshmallow Candyland, and it still would have been like
Candy Crush,
I think I
Guillermo
would've
del
liked
Toro
that.
edition.
They should
I
have
think I
called
would
it.
have liked that game, that crazy game like that was all dark and disturbing.
Dark and
They-
disturbing. It's
They
still
should
a-
have called it erotic pachinko horror. Even if it wasn't a pachinko game, they would have let it slide.
they are going to resurrect Silent Hills as a pachinko game now. Yeah.
They're just gonna put like a pachinko game on the front end, and after you score like 1 point, it actually just moves you to the real game, and because the executives are just gonna go like, okay, yeah, it's a pachinko game. And it'll just basically be like the opening page, of the game.
And
Like-
NX exclusive.
Yeah.
The NX pachinko machine, yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, at least that means Kojima can work with whoever he wants now, right?
Right, yeah, totally. Oh, no, I'm sorry. Hideo Kojima is just on vacation. I don't know what you heard otherwise.
Yeah, he doesn't get fired until his scheduled firing is on December, right?
It's in December, yeah. Until Konami's official PR line is he is on
He's
vacation.
on vacation.
On vacation before he gets fired.
He's on vacation. Permanent vacation. They'll like cock a gun, like.
That's the official PR line. Permanent vacation.
Yeah. Vacation.
Yeah, like they have a picture of the guy doing the scare quotes.
I don't know if anybody watches Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., but it's like vacation. It's like, so he's going to Tahiti. It's a magical place.
Tahiti and Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. was a place where people were like had memories erased, and it wasn't really Tahiti. That's just what they called it, going to Tahiti.
Yeah,
What
so
was
like
that?
the whole first half of the season, they were like Agent Coulson's entire line for like he didn't die, he just went to Tahiti. And he came back.
Reminds me of the movie The Island.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
So it's
You won the lottery.
You're going to the island.
You know, it's funny because there's a fan theory out there that the Kojima we are seeing is not Kojima; it's a clone called Hideo. That's perfectly up.
It's funny because like all of those kind of ridiculous conspiracy theories actually have some kind of a payoff. Because remember when they took like the picture of Hideo and made him look like he was like Swedish or something?
Yeah.
Didn't give it the whole Phantom Pain thing.
Oh yeah, when he made when he debuted the Phantom Pain, but it wasn't Metal Gear Solid. It was supposed to be some other game.
And he was supposed to be some Swedish guy, yeah.
It was supposed to be some Swedish developer, and it was supposed to be a Swedish game made by this fictional Swedish developer. Yeah, I remember that.
Reminds me of the whole Joaquin Phoenix thing.
Yeah.
Whatever he was doing.
Joaquin something was like his name, or whatever he was calling himself. And it was
Well, his name was like Joaquin something. Or,
Yeah. yeah. And I'm like,
Or Joe Kima, whatever.
yeah,
So
it
let's-
was
It was just an anagram of his own name.
Yeah, pretty much.
Let's talk about UI software on the NX.
Sure.
One of my big issues with the Wii U, and it's still a little bit present on certain things, but it's mostly been resolved, but man, those loading times for the operating system, not even in games.
Yeah,
God, that was painful.
even just putting it up.
Yeah, it was such a pain.
Remember buying your brand new Wii U for the first time and having to
Yep.
install the software updates?
Oh yeah, I mean, and like
Hours?
we didn't know. Like I was looking online, like is my Wii U gonna break? Like what's going on? I'm like, somebody tell me what I'm supposed to do, or like what I'm not supposed to do.
I mean, to be fair, the loading times, they definitely got better after that one update and stuff like that. I think since then it's been kind of sort of incremental, but it's...
Yeah, well, they put in the quick launch too, which made things so much easier.
I like the quick launch. I like that
Yeah.
quick launch.
I think like Mega64 made a video about like the Wii U, like updating, like after you bought it brand new, like at the time it came out, and it was like this guy gets a Wii U for his kid for his birthday or something, and then it finally like finishes updating for the first time when this kid is like 40.
It's still apparently not as bad as the PS3 though, right?
Yeah.
That system was like updates every like week or something.
Oh yeah, the Sony.
That was pretty fast.
So, the PlayStation systems, they seem to have to update every time I turn it on to want to play a game. It's like,
Yeah.
But what I'm talking about more specifically is the actual like load times
Hardware.
within the operating system. And
yeah,
you know, and it's still ridiculous. Like, if you, a perfect example of where it's still ridiculous, you want to go into settings.
Yes.
It takes like 5 seconds to load. You want to leave settings. It takes like 5 seconds to exit. It's
and
like,
then it has a little
you know,
chime at the end of it.
Yeah, I look at my phone, I launch settings, I hit the home button, it's out. It's instantaneous. You know? Why does this console take so much time to go out, to go back to the main menu? Why does it take so much time?
The Wii U is actually closing and opening and like cleaning the cache, like doing all this silly computer stuff, not leaving anything open.
Yeah.
At least when you launch the eShop, there's a little roulette game to occupy you while it's loading.
Oh, you mean the slot machine or whatever? Or whatever it is, yeah.
I mean, Nintendo stuff, it takes a long time to load it, but at least it's doing something whimsical while it's loading. Like,
they should just make fun of themselves.
Yeah. like when you're downloading software or something, there's like Pikmin, you know, putting stuff into boxes.
I just really hope that they get down the loading, because when there was first talk about, you know, the operating system for the new system being Android based, a lot of people were like, "Oh no, that means Android games." No, it doesn't. It's just the operating system. It means almost nothing, you know. But the one thing that excited me is, man, when I use my phone, my Android phone, I hit home button, I'm home. It's like if we can do that,
I'm home.
If Nintendo does go with a more mobile style OS, mobile style architecture, I totally do expect a ton of mobile developers to jump on board and just.
Well, the easier it is to make games, the more likely.
Yeah, I totally expect like a ton of those type of games to be on the NX.
Maybe we'll finally get Final Fantasy games on it again.
Well, Square Enix, interestingly, and the thing, Square Enix already seems to be on board the NX in like a major way.
Yeah,
because
now.
The first confirmed NX games, much to Nintendo chagrin.
Square Enix, Dragon Quest XI. It's going to be on NX.
It's going to be hard playing that after playing Xenoblade, to be honest.
Yeah, which I can't wait for next month, but anyway.
Yeah, right. You know what? I would put Dragon Quest over Xenoblade. But that's neither here nor there.
Hey, can we ban this guy? No.
I'll abstain from this one.
I saw the new Dragon Quest. I saw the pictures of it. Both versions, the PS4 version they showed and the 3DS version looks amazing, by the way.
I was wondering, actually, it looks like the portable version doesn't have like the big wide open world with with like the free camera that you sort of get in like Xenoblade.
Right, it doesn't.
That's what I find appealing, so I think I wouldn't even get the portable version. I would get the PS4 version. It looks like a great game. But,
it does. I mean, I saw those pics, and I got so unbelievably giddy. I am definitely buying both versions. I love what they're doing with the handheld version though, where they got like a 3D version.
The two different art styles, yeah.
Yeah, and then the bottom screen is like the same game, only in 2D classic style.
I'm surprised not many people have done that before, because it doesn't seem too like ridiculous if you actually think about the way like games are designed in like a tile format. It doesn't seem too far off that they could do that, you know. So I'm surprised that this is like, as far as I know, like the first game that's doing that. But yeah, I really hope they improve the software system on the NX compared to the way it was on, not talking games, but OS on the NX. Not just the speed of the way stuff loads, but
maybe with the new OS, maybe a lighter, leaner OS will definitely allow them to reduce load times. Especially if it's a fork of Android, it should be doable.
Yeah. Android's actually a really good operating system as far as like managing resources. It closes stuff when it needs to close them. It doesn't close them all the time. So
this is just coming down the wire. I just saw this, but it looks like a Minecraft Wii U version was rated by PEGI, the European rating board.
So Microsoft's going to have a game on Wii U, is what you're saying?
Yeah. Minecraft Wii U edition by Microsoft Studios.
We published a rumor about that like a year and a half ago, and we got ass blasted because no one confirmed it. And then everyone just, like, NeoGAF banned us. We can't mention Nintendo Enthusiast and NeoGAF, they get banned.
You can
really?
the word enthusiast and just in the same sentence.
So bad.
We got such a bad rap.
That is awful. You do not want to be banned from NeoGAF.
Yeah. We got Dennis Dyack.
Yeah.
You know what? Oh yeah, Dennis Dyack. Oh God, yeah, that guy.
I was going to say though, when you're talking about the OS and stuff like that, being very, efficient and quick and all that kind of stuff. When I play Nintendo's own games, loading times are usually, right there.
Oh yeah.
The games are very good. Their quality control is, to be honest, I think their quality control is almost impeccable, by today's standards. And yet I think their OS itself does not reflect that. I think
there's only one game I have on my Wii U where the load times make me like want to choke myself, and that's the Lego City Undercover.
I think that's one of the reasons why I still have not bought that game.
God, the load times on that game are just insane. It's it's just like crazy, and especially, I mean, the Wii U's done pretty well with load times with the other games I played on it,
Right.
Yeah. No, and Nintendo specifically, like what Shoulder said, their games like Splatoon, it's got issues with like how long you wait for a match, but that's just the netcode. It's the matchmaking. It's not you go between menus so quickly.
You have to think though, in all fairness to Lego City, it was an early Wii U game. It was not developed directly by Nintendo. Traveler's Tales developed it. I mean, so I guess a certain level, like, of jank like that is to be expected, coming from a third-party developer that early in the system's life.
It's also one of those games that should have been playable off-screen and isn't.
Right. Yeah.
I think there's only like 3 games that you can't have off TV. That and Zombie U and whatever.
Back when people thought it was optional.
Originally, that was going to be, Wonderful 101 was going to be like that, but then they ended up making it so you actually could play that off screen.
Yeah. I played it off screen. It's actually nice.
Yeah, they put like a little picture-in-picture mode.
Mm-hmm.
Go on,
off-screen play is the best feature of the Wii U.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Absolutely, I think so.
I hate games that don't utilize it, at least if they don't at least have a legitimate design reason for why it doesn't.
That's one of the things I'm most excited about for Xenoblade Chronicles X on Wii U is the off-screen TV play, because that's a game that you just spend hours. Sometimes you're just looking around the landscape for things, and you're not actually really investing in like the story, the way the story path is going. Mm-hmm. And it's like, oh yeah, okay, so basically in the original Xenoblade Chronicles, you knew exactly when you were going to jump back into story material.
Yeah.
So, like, I could totally see myself sitting there, like, watching TV and just kind of, like, grinding around, fighting a few enemies, scouring for items and doing that kind of stuff just around. And then I'm like, okay, I'm at where I want to pick up the story again. I'm going to switch the TV to the actual thing and really experience it full on,
So do you think we're still going to get that with the NX? Like a gamepad, off-screen play, like that sort of stuff?
I don't know.
I think so because I think it is going to be, like I said, I think it is going to be a hybrid. I think it's going to be a platform too. But I think the first device we're going to get is going to be a handheld, and it's going to have a way to play on the TV screen. It's going to do that, and it's going to interact with controllers besides portable systems too. So, I think especially if the NX were to happen to be backwards compatible with the Wii U, then I think that would lead further credence to that as well. Yeah. Even if it's not backwards compatible, they're going to put a bunch of Wii U games on the NX just because, you can't make a game as good as Mario Kart 8 or Splatoon and then limit it to the Wii U's 10 million users,
Is it possible that's why they called Xenoblade Chronicles X, because eventually they will bring it to the NX?
No, on Smash Brothers, they already let you, on the Wii U version, you can use your 3DS as a controller.
Yeah.
Oh, that's right, I forgot about that.
But Smash Bros. Is kind of a special case. They made a special dongle where you could use a GameCube controller that Nintendo will not allow you to use with anything else.
That upset me when you weren't able to use it for anything else. It's like, really?
And they came out with this adapter that was so unbelievably difficult to get, and it's like, come on, seriously?
Yeah.
But it actually makes me
that adapter for so long, and then finally I actually got used to the controls on the Wii U gamepad, and I'm just like, well, I don't need this adapter anymore.
No, but on using the 3DS as a Wii U controller like that, it's kind of weird because you can do that in that game, right? You pick up your 3DS and that's your controller. You're controlling your game on the Wii U with your 3DS, but you can't do that in any other game. And it seems like, why not? Why wouldn't you?
It's a cheap extra controller. Well, not cheap because it's expensive.
It's not cheap.
Yes, it is.
But if you have one, it's an extra controller.
What that leads me to is that if they do a portable NX, and even if they limit it to one screen, they might just let you play it like that. Like you said, you stream a screen to the TV, and now the screen on your actual device is like your second screen.
Mm-hmm.
Or just a possibility, but either way, they're gonna let you use your new portable NX as a controller, even for the Wii U, I think.
Well, they're already doing stuff kind of like that with phones. Like if you've ever used a Chromecast before, or done any kind of casting device, you put it up on your TV, and then you don't need your phone anymore. Like your phone isn't barred with it, and some applications have been using that to say like, okay, well, if we're putting up the screen on the TV, then let's put something else on the phone.
Mm-hmm.
So they've done that. If you launch Google Play Movies or whatever, and you watch a movie, and you're like, oh, there's a song playing, I wonder what that song is, and you pick up your phone, it'll tell you...
do stuff, and it'll give you the lyrics and so on.
Yeah, and that's
It's funny all these years after E3 2003, and everybody wants to do connectivity now. Let's have that second screen experience on your iPad. Okay.
That was a buzz term for years. It's just starting to die away, the whole second screen experience. But I still see that every time I start to watch Walking Dead or something. It's like download the mobile app to enjoy the second screen experience.
And every time I think about E3 2003 and Batman Versus, I'm like, this is its legacy.
Yeah. Those guys are like, we have a whole team of programmers working on this second screen stuff. Please use it. Come on.
Well, how about the mobile app when Assassin's Creed 4 Black Flag came out?
Yeah.
And it's like they didn't even bother with the gamepad, even though it's native to it. And they said, "Well, download the app." I'm going, they're just a bunch of fucking lazy bums.
How about Assassin's Creed Unity, where you had to download the app and use the app
open chests.
To open chests.
Oh, that's right. I remember that.
So dumb.
This is so stupid.
That was going to cost extra.
Yeah. Ubisoft was all over that too. Like they had their teams all working on. I swear they probably put all of their teams working on Zombie U at one point or another, just so they could learn the second screen stuff, because that became like every game they put out.
Yeah, like we gotta pick this up now. No, they did a bunch of other stuff for mobile with Unity. They did like a whole app and also a website that tracks you. It tracks how you play the game. Like, it will tell you if you would rather like sneak and kill people silently, or whether you would rather go in guns blazing. And it's like you go visit the website and you're like, whoa, man! Like, I don't remember seeing this in the terms and license. Like,
I almost expected it to kind of go like, "You suck at this game."
They're all, this is the type of psychopath you are.
Yeah, pretty much.
Stop playing the game and go outside and actually smell the roses, please. You played this far too long.
The website is like, this is how many hours you've spent opening golden chests. It's like, oh crap.
Well, why would you want to know that?
Yeah, right?
It's kind of like saying, like, how many revs has my car done since I bought it? Why would I want to even know that?
Yeah, right?
No, see, it's because if you're OCD, then you can rev your car more times just to get it up to an even number.
Yes, I got it to a Google. Anyway.
So, let's talk about games. Of course, this is the most important thing.
Games, that's Nintendo Land Part 2.
Oh.
Boom.
It was fun. They just didn't know what they were doing.
They just have this Splatoon world now.
Ending with the fireworks at that one E3 conference. It's like the worst.
That was really bad. And that happened to be, that wasn't their last. Was it that last one? Their last one?
That was the last reveal of that E3.
Yeah, they said, and one more thing, and then it was fireworks.
The 2012 conference was terrible. It was, I don't know how, like, their E3 conference, which was preceding the launch of a major new system, could be terrible, but Nintendo did it. They managed to do that.
I have to agree. Yeah. I have to agree.
Yeah, because it was like, no new information.
It's all skill, Will.
It was like no new information, no new games shown from like the previous year, except for like Zombie U and a port of Batman Arkham Arkham whatever was out at the time.
City.
Yeah.
Yeah. Arkham City Origins, where like it had like some new content, and Reggie saying it's
really
not
ugly Batsuit. That they forced you to use.
Reggie saying it's not the same game, it's not the same content.
Yeah.
Yeah, an extra suit totally makes.
I changed the CD player in my car. It's a new car.
It's a new car. It's not the same CD player. It's like, yeah, and Nintendo Land. Those were like the only new things we learned from that conference, and it's like, really?
And it almost seems like a slap in the face on some of that stuff now. It's like, you wanted F-Zero, here's F-Zero.
Here's F-Zero as a mini game, and then
you wanted Metroid, here it is, Federation Force.
The worst part is that it was fun. Metroid Blast was pretty fun, and I wish they would have made a game. I guess they made Splatoon, but they didn't really, like, there are no vehicles in Splatoon. You don't get on your spaceship and shoot Ridley down while flying. Like, what a missed opportunity. They have a good game in the Metroid Blast.
I said after E3 2012, I said the Wii U is going to be a major flop. This is not the next Wii. This isn't even going to do half the sales of the Wii. And I was correct, because that showing, that poor showing gave you everything you needed to know about how, Nintendo was going to perform this generation. You could tell their heart just was not in it.
The developers' hearts were in it. That was about it.
Those guys tried hard.
Those guys tried hard. Yeah, the developers.
They did.
Not
really
Nintendo.
did.
Not Nintendo as a company. Definitely not.
They, man, They should have at least hired some marketers. At least.
They should have.
Well, they did. They should have hired good marketers.
Right.
Like in that show, I'm like watching like everything being announced. I'm like, okay. And then I'm waiting for the end where they show like a brand new 3D Mario or like Metroid, because it had been a while since Retro Studios' last game. So,
Man.
Maybe Metroid, and Metroid is going to launch with the Wii U. No, it's Nintendo Land.
That just made the 2013 conference even worse. That it made one more year of waiting for Retro to say anything, and then it's like, oh, here you go, Donkey Kong again.
Donkey Kong again.
And then they won up that disappointment with their was it Gramps Kong thing at the
beginning. Oh my god, the VGAs. Reggie comes in and is like, I got a huge surprise, guys.
I know it was leaked a few days before. It'll still be a surprise.
Yeah, you can play as Cranky Kong.
Is that going to turn me into a grump?
Oh, that conference, those VGAs turned me into a grump.
They turned you into a Cranky Kong.
Yeah.
What's funny is that I think Nintendo's the only company that could actually make a game about marketing. They'll call it like Wii marketing or something like that, or me marketing, and they would not know how to market it, and it would flop
it'd be the first bad game they make.
Yeah.
I got that too. A lot of it is also on the fans. Nintendo fans are probably the most passionate, dedicated fan base in gaming.
And insatiable.
And insatiable, and they tend to get themselves so entirely worked up over every little thing that, Nintendo says, oh, we have something cool for you tomorrow, and it turns into Zelda X Mario Metroid crossover for NX with super realistic graphics that's going to blow the PlayStation 4 away.
You know what's pretty funny? That's like so accurate. It's like making me want to cry. Like we heard.
Of course, we're having this discussion the day before the Nintendo Direct for tomorrow,
it's gonna be pretty funny tomorrow.
And so it'll be interesting to see if we eat our own words or something like that.
Well,
Shoo, motherfucker!
Yeah.
I'm on the hype train.
That game is totally getting announced tomorrow, by the way. I fully expect it, or I will break my computer.
No, but what I was mentioning was that recently some guy said, I don't remember who it was, said something about Star Fox U. Like, oh no, they found some information on the Wii U on the eShop page saying like you need an internet connection to engage with the online features of Star Fox Wii U.
Yeah, I heard that too.
Yeah, and then what was the headline I saw? And like, I'm not even gonna tell you on which side because I'm embarrassed. But like, the headline was, there might be online multiplayer in Star Fox Wii U, and it's like, no, there's not gonna be. There's absolutely not gonna be anything. Man. It's just gonna be amiibo stuff, and you can share it online. But the headline was like, hey guys, we might still get something real good. Like, no, we're not.
But they'll probably have a split screen, though.
So, does anybody want to hear the 4chan November 12th Nintendo Direct leak? 4chan...
I've heard, like, several versions of it. I honestly don't know if I'd believe this one.
Well, here's the thing. Interestingly enough, 4chan came out with these rumors. I don't know how long ago, but they came out with these rumors before the date was announced, and they got the date correct so far. They said that.
Oh, they did?
Yeah, they came out with these. And it was like they said, oh, there's a new Nintendo Direct November 12th, and here's what's going to be in the Direct. And now this was before the date was announced, and now we have the date. It's correct. And this is what 4chan says is going to be happening tomorrow. Again, take what 4chan says. Smash Ballot results will be revealed. 6 characters, 3 available right after the Direct.
I don't believe that.
Yeah, 6 seems like much.
Well, even if it is 6, 3 available right after. I mean, the ballot closed in October?
Yeah.
I don't.
Yeah, that doesn't seem to be like enough
If
development
there's 3
time.
characters announced, they're not going to be because of the ballot, you know?
Right.
They're not, yeah.
They're like more Wii eShop titles and virtual console games announced with discounts leading all the way up to Christmas. Twilight Princess HD announced will release in February as part of the 30th anniversary of Zelda. Zelda Wii U will get an official title, but no gameplay will be shown.
I doubt that too. I doubt they're going to give it a title before they give footage. That's
Right.
never happened before.
Well, they did give footage
No, I mean, but before like gameplay, you know, like real gameplay. The title's always been like the last thing they reveal on Zelda games.
Pikmin 4 is announced and will release sometime spring 2016.
Miyamoto did say that game was almost done.
Yeah, I did hear that.
But that's why they're putting it on the rumor too.
Yeah.
And
Star Fox Zero gets a new trailer and will release February 26th.
Yeah, that is believable.
that I can actually believe. But anyway.
Yeah, because they gotta market it, right? Like,
Yeah.
if any reason I wouldn't believe it, it's because it's Nintendo marketing.
Yeah, I would be shocked if there was zero information on Star Fox. And
No, I wouldn't be shocked. I'd be like, that's so Nintendo. They're just gonna release the game, let it die.
Stealth release, yeah.
You know, I'm actually surprised they let it slip to February since they didn't have anything else except for Xenoblade for this Christmas, and Xenoblade is a weird game for them to have up as their major holiday.
I hope they market that game.
They already have
That's what I keep saying. Is like if they marketed it, it could be big, but they don't. They market it like, hey guys, it's a JRPG. You know, the Earth is destroyed, and you're a cool guy in a robot. Like that's not how you market that game. You gotta say it's like one of the biggest games ever made.
Say like bigger than Mass Effect, bigger than Destiny, you know, bigger than those games.
Exactly. It's like,
well, that's what they revealed. What was it? I think it was Nintendo World Report did like a thing where they actually checked the size of the map. Like they did some calculation. They found out it was like it's like bigger than Fallout 3, bigger than Fallout 4, and bigger than Skyrim.
Witcher 3.
My mind is just blown that Xenoblade is the major holiday title for this year for Nintendo in the U.S. because Reggie had to, like, you know, be dragged kicking and screaming into releasing the first one. Because he literally did not want to do it because apparently stupid Americans don't like Japanese RPGs for whatever reason Reggie has in his brain. I don't know. So it's so weird.
Well, the thing that shocked us when we were doing the Operation Rainfall stuff was less about Xenoblade and more about the last story. All they had to do was put up like a trailer with like some of the CG footage and say, from the maker of Final Fantasy.
Right,
That's all they had to do, and that game would have sold over 1 million, flat out.
Yeah, you know, Microsoft knew that. That's why Microsoft released Blue Dragon and The Lost Odyssey. You know, they did not have... Nobody had to hold their feet to the fire to get that done.
It's like some of those niche games, Nintendo just has this incapability of marketing their games properly, you know, actually taking advantage of the market and saying, no, this game, you know, is, you know, from the makers of this and this and that, rather than saying, oh, this is just a game we just created, you should buy it, you know.
You know, it reminds me of the game information on that game Cave Story, that indie game made by that Japanese guy many years ago.
Yeah.
It's like critically acclaimed. It's a very great game. The description of the game on his website is something like, Cave Story is an action adventure game, or like a side-scroller action game. You explore a cave. You can also save and quit, or something like that. That's it. Like,
I was going to say, it takes place in a cave and there's a story.
So that's who's doing Nintendo's marketing.
I'm sorry. You can save and quit? Sold. I've
Right.
100 copies.
So this is who's doing Nintendo's marketing.
yeah.
They say, we know you're used to making games, but we read your description, and wow. Just wow.
Amazing. I'm crying.
It's the developers, like, oh yeah, I added this code here that makes loading times like 10% faster. That's the marketing guy, the guy that made the product code.
Okay, 10% faster as opposed to what?
A new remaster series for 2016 is announced for both Wii U and 3DS, including Super Mario Sunshine HD and F-Zero X 3D.
See, now this is starting to feel ridiculous.
That's just playing with people's feet.
Oh, that is a perfect example of what Nintendo fans expect. What is actually going to happen? Oh, hi, we ported Super Mario Galaxy to the Wii U, and not like as an HD remaster, but as just a straight virtual console ISO dump. Like,
what do you guys think about the possibility of Twilight Princess HD?
I think it's possible.
It looks legit. There's been some pretty legit looking hints out there that say it's happening. So
what would you expect? Are you expecting like a Wind Waker treatment?
Honestly,
are you expecting something more?
I don't know.
I think I do expect that, because whoever worked on it might have been like a small team within EAD, right, that worked on Wind Waker.
Or an outside team like they did with like Ocarina of Time 3D.
Well, see, those were made by Grezzo, so I don't think Wind Waker was made by Grezzo, because those guys were busy making Majora's Mask.
No, Wind Waker wasn't. Wind Waker was EAD.
Yeah, so
I could see them reaching out to somebody that they have like that. There's also the huge Monolith team, which is in Kyoto, whose sole purpose is to help.
It's to make Nintendo games better.
Yeah, that's their sole purpose.
That's perfect. We keep. I keep thinking about this like throughout these past years. Like, we keep expecting the next big thing from Retro, but we're getting it from Monolith Soft, man.
Yeah, definitely. So, speaking of Monolith Soft, going down these rumors, Xenoblade Chronicles X trailer and playable demo right after the Direct with preload.
Oh, don't say that.
I don't think so, just because I don't think there was a demo in Japan, was there?
I don't think so.
And I don't think they're going to make a code for one that doesn't exist in Japan.
I could see I could see having a new trailer, though.
Yeah. Details. But them making entirely
they have to talk about it. It's coming out.
Yeah, it's coming. They will talk about it, but the demo thing sounds like suspect.
But one thing
preload.
though.
The other thing is like preload too.
Hold on, Will. What was that?
I was about to say one thing about the Twilight Princess thing real quick was, obviously it was on both GameCube and Wii, and of course the Wii version had the Wii remote controls, which is really just a bunch of waggle controls, and then GameCube had conventional. So if Twilight Princess is coming, whatnot, is it going to opt for, the conventional controls, or is it just going to, be, have the Wii remote or some sort of gyro controls tacked on or something like that?
I think it's going to be like Wind Waker HD, where they're going to use the touch screen.
Gamepad inventory.
Yeah. See that.
Yeah, it's going to be Wind Waker. Yeah, it's going to use the gamepad. It's probably just going to retain the GameCube controls, rather than go with the Wii controls. Just like I predict, maybe you'll actually have the choice to select between control styles. That'd be cool.
Probably not. The whole world gets mirrored every time you do it.
Yeah, no, knowing Nintendo, probably not.
Or maybe what they'll do is they'll say Twilight Princess HD is compatible with the GameCube controller. So.
No, nothing's ever going to be compatible with that ever again.
It's compatible with the GameCube controller, which we are not making new. We're not making new adapters. So.
if they wanted games that were not Smash Brothers to be compatible with that, they could have updated Wind Waker to be compatible with that.
Yeah, there's a lot of games that could have been compatible with that.
A lot of indie games too.
But a lot of indie games. Yeah,
Mario Kart could have been compatible with that, just so more people have options.
Yeah.
So much potential. I don't know why they wasted it like that.
Reminds me of Resident Evil Revelations that they did not include Wii Remote controls like they did for Resident Evil 4 Wii Edition. Thought that was a massive disappointment. But anyway.
Let's see, details on Nintendo account, Miitomo, and My Nintendo service.
Which is funny because
they said they weren't going to do that, right?
They said that we're not going to talk about mobile. It's on their direct site.
I don't see why they would. Like, why would they talk to me about mobile games? You know?
Yeah, I know, right? You don't care.
But then again, it's Nintendo.
Yeah, like details on Super Mario Maker DLC, which
definitely.
What
I could see that.
Oh, what like?
I think they'd be stupid if they didn't.
I think they need to come out with DLC.
Maybe they're gonna create a spin-off of it or something like that, and have like Luigi Maker or something like that.
A whole separate game you have to buy. It's exactly the same except the Luigi.
That's true.
The default clock is shorter, and you're using Luigi.
That's true. You can't play as Luigi in Mario Maker. This needs to be fixed. Thank you. I am going to write 100 letters to Nintendo now.
What about Splatoon? Because I think that's pretty certain. We're gonna get something on Splatoon.
Fire
we need new modes in Splatoon.
Fire Emblem Fates trailer and release date of March 25th.
That's believable.
Mario and Luigi Paper Jam trailer and release date. Hyrule Warrior Legends trailer and release date for April 22nd.
That's all, yeah. Standard fare, likely.
Likely. Short tribute for Iwata is shown. And then Direct concludes with Splatoon DLC and new game modes.
I don't see how they would show, like, I think that they would either introduce, like, an Iwata tribute at the beginning or at the end. I can't imagine them going like, okay, everybody's done crying from that touching tribute. And now, exciting finish!
It's so awkward. I know. Let's take a moment of silence for Iwata. Okay, enough of that. Splatoon!
I still want a Splatoon sandbox game.
It's never happening.
It might happen. Anything can happen. We're in the age of magic.
That'd be great if the single player mode on Splatoon was like just straight up, sandbox, and then like the multiplayer was just pretty much what it is.
One rumor I did read on 4chan earlier, back when they were saying that the Direct was gonna be at the end of October, was that part of the Splatoon DLC was gonna be additional single player content.
I'd actually like that. I actually do like the single player.
I would hope it's not just more levels like the ones they already have.
I hope it's not just like reworks of the levels like they did with the Amiibo.
It's going to be the same level with just one thing moved in a different place in each level. Yeah. I don't know.
There's one extra balloon that you can pop in each stage.
Right, exactly.
It has more ink.
And they're going to announce more Amiibo, so you'll have to buy those Amiibo to get these levels.
Yeah. Well, they're going to put out Octoling Amiibos.
Yeah, right?
Yeah. Cause, man, they look too good not to do that. Definitely. So.
Oh, yeah, they do. They have to do. It'll be interesting to see what they do with Amiibos next year, because they started several different lines of Amiibo that they could definitely do, like, second runs of. Like, they could do more Splatoon Amiibo outside of the initial 3, or they could do more Mario-based Amiibo. There's a lot of Mario characters that they can make into Amiibo. They could do a whole Zelda line.
It's too bad that Xenoblade Chronicles X doesn't have Amiibo support. How awesome would it be if you could, like, get outfits, like, based on characters?
Like, only one Xenoblade...
Wouldn't you love to be running around... No, but not that, but wouldn't you love to be running around the world of Xenoblade with, like, your, like, macho, like, designed character all dressed like Toad?
The only one I would ever want, granted it's not in Xenoblade Chronicles X, but I want one of Rhine, and then has a clock on it, and it just has Rhine.
That's his scowl, yeah. The giant clock. So yeah, do you guys have any other thoughts about what you think we're gonna get at in this direct?
I don't even think we're going to get half of what's on that rumor list. I'll be happy if
I'm expecting DLC announcements.
I'm not expecting anything. Really.
I'm honestly hoping that there's more Mario Kart DLC.
Is Mario Tennis out? They're probably going to talk about that.
Yeah, because really, I mean, it's the holiday season. They're going to wait it out. They're going to tell you what they're going to be selling, and then from January, they're going to tell you what's next.
Right. Exactly.
Zelda U? Do you think we're going to get a Zelda U trailer?
No.
I think they should. I think it would be smart if they did.
Look, Rage is going to be at the Gaming Awards in like, what is
There's
it, like
that
in early
too,
December?
They could, yes, unveil something there.
Here's Nintendo's whole thing, and here's what. You're not going to see Zelda till E3. Nintendo already said this. Nintendo said this last E3. They said, well, Zelda's not going to be there because we delayed it, and we're saving it for next E3.
No, they didn't. I think they only said it wasn't going to be last E3. They didn't say anything about it.
They didn't say it wasn't. Okay.
So yeah, I think they'll show it. I think they should show it. Whether or not they do, who knows? It's Nintendo. I think that there's, as much as you say it would interfere, or not you, but as much as people might say it would interfere with their holiday lineup, I think that the bigger problem isn't with selling games to people that own Wii U's, but in keeping people invested in having a Wii U. And I think that the saying like, look, the Zelda game is still coming, just kind of like a reminder,
Yeah.
I think is necessary, even if it's just a short trailer. Like, I don't expect to learn anything new.
But you do the same thing for Retros games. Yes, one is still being developed. We don't know what it is, but it is coming.
When are we going to hear
Except
about
it's retro, they're just going to exactly say those words, though. They're just going to say, and yes, a retro game is in development.
Yeah.
Mishima is going to come out and he's going to say Retro Studios is on vacation.
Retro Studios is on it. Hideo Kojima has joined Retro Studios.
And then they'll have a Twitter or a tweet or something like that after the direct says, here's Retro Studios making pancakes.
Love that maple syrup.
Yep.
Yep. No, I fully expect Retro Studios' next game to be Balloon Fight. I don't. It's
They need to make their own IP.
Definitely.
No, don't expect them to do IP. Don't expect them to...
Oh, I don't expect it. I just think they need to do it. It's like, it's time, They're way too talented of a developer not to have their own IP.
No, I think they could be. I mean, how many more franchises does Nintendo have to reboot? Are they really going to be doing Donkey Kong 3? And if they're not, are they really going to go back and do, Ice Climbers? I don't think so anymore. They might just be working on, I don't know, maybe a higher profile franchise, maybe.
Man Icarus.
Man Icarus. They were developing that for the Wii. It probably would have been terrible. Literally, Level 5 was making that for Wii, and it was hard. Not Level 5, but Factor 5. If Level 5 was making it, it would have been amazing.
Yeah.
You know what? I just want a new F-Zero.
Hey.
Yeah. More than anything.
I think unless Fast Racing sells 1 million copies, digital copies, I think Nintendo's kind of done with that, and I say that very sadly. I'm not just get over it or something. I'm I'm very sad, but I don't know.
Yeah,
that's how I can imagine them going to it.
It was bittersweet when they added 200cc on Mario Kart. Oh, thanks, but
yeah, you have two stages.
It's like they're trying to avoid.
It's
they're
like
trying
a
to
kid
avoid
at Christmas,
making another title.
This is not what I wanted.
It's not the DLC we wanted, but it's what we deserve.
I always thought they should have done an F-Zero DLC for Mario Kart 8 that's an actual game, kind of like how they did new Super Luigi with where you're using the same engine, but you're not necessarily using the same controls, and the physics are tweaked a little bit, and and they made a whole game like that as just like, this is a $10 or $15 DLC pack for Mario Kart, and it's just at the title screen they'll have like a little F-Zero thing you can click on. I always thought, something like that, and I say that not because it's what I want, but it's because like maybe that would be possible for them to do.
Nintendo's slogan: so many missed opportunities.
Yeah.
Yeah,
it's leave F-Zero to heaven instead of leave left to heaven.
if NX launches with the new F-Zero, that'd be the best. You know what would be the best ever? If NX launched with a new 3D Mario and a new F-Zero, because then it could be like Christmas 1992 all over again. And I could literally relive my childhood. Do this, Nintendo.
I want them to launch with Xenoblade Chronicles Y.
And then it says why, and you go, why not?
Let's call it that. Xenoblade Chronicles, why not?
Exactly. Why not? Why not both?
Really, that would be my reaction to it. Like, we just had a Xenoblade Chronicles. Why are we having another one?
Yeah.
We know that a lot of the work on X was actually had to do with just establishing the engine. And that there's probably not going to be much change from that engine to what they would do for an NX game.
Here's the thing.
Hold on, just let me finish my point here, Will.
Okay.
So the creator of the series was it's Takahashi, right?
Uh-huh.
He said that that they'd like to take what they did with Xenoblade Chronicles X, mostly meaning the engine, and do something with a stronger story focus.
Right. Yeah.
In a later game. So I feel like when they made Xenoblade Chronicles X, it was more than just the game, it was the engine. It was like the possibility of using it for something else for a quicker turnaround. That they could put out more stuff. So that's where I'm remaining super hopeful. And
pretty much anything that's coming out from Monolith Soft, I'm like, yeah, whatever you guys do, I'll eat it up.
You can be as hopeful. I mean, that might be true, but they're still not getting a new Xenoblade out within a year.
Oh no, yeah.
No.
They're all the new Monolith Soft game. It's a sequel you've all been waiting for. Well, yes, Xenoblade, yes. Disaster! Night of Crisis!
That actually would sound pretty interesting.
Right? Disaster Amiibo of Crisis.
We know you love retro. We know you love Monolith Soft. We can't show you both of their new games, but we just, we're gonna show you the new game from Monolith Soft. Donkey Kong Country 3.
Oh my god. That hurt.
Donkey Kong RPG.
Yeah.
It more story focused.
I'd still buy that.
Donkey Kong RPG, but it's more story focused than any game Monolith Soft has ever done.
And it's got bikini costumes.
Yeah, it's gonna get into like the ethics of gods and
comes from Monolith Soft.
King K. Rool is gonna have like a really introspective moment where he realizes that he's the bad guy and then tries to change.
He's gonna go all Darth Vader on us.
He starts playing. Yeah.
Sorry, I cut you off their shoulder.
Oh man.
I mean, that pretty much brings us to, we talked a lot about NX, we speculated, we talked about the Direct that's coming up, and that pretty much, I think, brings us to an end. Any of you guys have anything else to talk about?
Not really, I guess. Yeah, just, I don't know what to expect with,
I hope, if I'm gonna make one outlandish, totally not coming true prediction that I hope actually happens the most, I hope NX launches with a new Metroid. Like an actual Metroid game, not Federation Force, like real Metroid. Can we do that, Nintendo? Can we make this happen?
Can they? Yes. Will they? No.
Well, here's you're speaking of outlandish. Okay, here's something outlandish for me. I want Skies of Arcadia on 3DS. That's my outlandish request or dream.
Boom, that's awesome. Okay.
Hey, make it a new 3DS exclusive if it doesn't work on the old one, you know?
Right?
Yes.
Exactly.
They got what, 2 now? And
Make
one of
it
them doesn't work?
Make it happen, Nintendo and Sega. Make it happen.
No.
You know, what I'm waiting for isn't even from Nintendo. I think that kind of speaks to like what I am into now. Like, I just want to see Monster Hunter 5 as a launch title on the NX.
Ooh, that'd be interesting.
That'd be interesting.
It's all Japan won. Game over.
Game over, man. Game over.
If the NX gets Monster Hunter 5 and Dragon Quest 11, that's pretty much Japan.
Yeah.
There you go.
Mm-hmm.
It's all the government just steps in and says, fine, okay, we're just buying an NX for every citizen.
You know what? The government would be like, we're not gonna impose regulations on you as long as you don't make a pachinko game, alright?
Metroid Pachinko.
Hey, that's totally possible. I mean, we did get Metroid Prime Pinball.
Oh, that's
exactly. I was
true.
going to say that, yeah.
Metroid Prime Pachinko. Hit the lever.
It's possible, yeah.
The least likely to succeed, but we'll get it.
They're gonna do what they're gonna do, and it's gonna just infuriate everyone, like Metroid fans and the people that were all like the other end, like haters. It's gonna be like that Kim Kardashian mobile game. They're gonna do like a Samus one, where you like dress her up in dresses and stuff.
Oh my god.
With microtransactions.
Yeah.
This day night deal is getting even better and better.
So yeah, that's a wrap then.
Right.
So this isn't a regular podcast. We're just gonna do this when we feel like doing it, pretty much, when there's something interesting to talk about. So we probably won't do one after the next direct unless it's like, oh my god, what the fuck was that? Which I doubt is gonna happen. But yeah, that's it. So, do you have anything to plug? Let's go in order here. Alex, do you have anything to plug?
No, I ain't got anything to plug, man. Not working on anything.
Nick?
I have a couple of articles I need to finish up on the front page of Nintendo Enthusiast, so I'll, one of them has to do with video games and art, so I'll work on that one. But,
Is the name Ebert in it?
Yeah.
He is,
I think
isn't it?
I think it actually is. I think it is.
I remember reading about his comments there.
Well,
We'll plug your article when we do it.
Nothing to plug at the moment.
and for me, you can always check out my work on tventhusiast.com. And that's it. So, thank you everybody for joining me, and thank you everybody who listened.
Yep, thanks for inviting.
I'm invincible. I'm invincible. Now I torture you and you die 'cause I'm invincible. All the turtles and goombas are ghosts. I'm like Bagger and eating a ghost.